All right, so we are here with Amgad, who we did a design for last year, and the idea of what we're doing today is we're gonna kind of just walk through the design with him via Zoom. I've got him on the camera here, and we've updated the design as well as we've got some old renders and stuff like that, and all of the photos that he sent us initially and all of that. So we're gonna kind of walk through the design with Amgad and look through what we did and also be able to see what happened with his garage. So he has a garage that we've completed now. He's gone through the process with us, and it's pretty cool to be able to see that transformation and go through every single step, and they now get to where, all right, now we have a completed garage from our design. And it's not exact. You'll see that there are some differences. Once you actually get into the design, you kind of have to make some changes on the fly, which we'll talk about today too. But Amgad, let's go ahead and just kind of jump into it and walk through. So you've got a pretty good little garage here, not super little, it's pretty big, with 3 cars. It's nice and deep. Tell me a little bit about what you wanted to do with the garage and kind of what your goals were.
Yeah, so I think that's something that you really helped with in the design process was just talking through with me about what my specific goals for the garage are, because I know a lot of us range from like really entry level detailing to some people are a lot more advanced and doing polishing and paint correction. And so for me, I just wanted a place that I could put all my tools in, do some basic maintenance on the car. Really, all I do for my car is like simple washes and keeping the wheels clean. And so I didn't want or need something for crazy detailing. And I think that applied throughout the whole design process. From everything we talked about, like what tools do I want to invest in? What size air compressor, as
Right,
a
right.
result, where the outlets would be.
Yep.
And also, I think in a lot of the drawings too, we were going to go with a lift,
Yeah.
but I had some second thoughts about the lift, mainly because with this 3-stall setup that I have, I like to park my car in the middle stall at an angle, and
Hmm.
my wife parks the van in the first stall, and then that leaves the third stall open so the kids can get their bikes in or out, or for the mower. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
washed my car inside, and so I wasn't sure, in the middle stall how that would all work
Right.
with the water coming in and stuff. So that might be something I add later, but that's kind of the setup of the garage now.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's kind of one of the nice things about a garage like yours is that it's awesome now, but it's still like a realistic garage. You've got the kid stuff in there, you've got some of the yard equipment and stuff like that I have to have in my garage. I don't have space for it elsewhere or whatever. So it's not like every single garage we ever do is this, perfect, pristine, clinical environment with nothing in it. Which I think is nice to see, something a little bit more realistic sometimes. Here's the original design that you had sent over to us, where you just kind of drew it out on some graph paper and kind of marked off what you were thinking for cabinets and stuff. And so this design, as we're looking at it now on the screen, it is a little bit different than what we had originally sent over to you in screenshots and stuff like that. And our whole design process is changed a lot since then. And I've got 3 guys that are working with me now, and it's quite a bit different than it used to be. But let me show you kind of where we are with. Essentially, this was the design. This has just now been kind of updated with our newer software and better renders and stuff like that. A little bit more accurate, that sort of thing. But we've got the MSS Plus cabinets like you wanted back on the wall. Some of the reels I think ended up a little bit different from what you actually installed. I think you put them, on the ceiling rather than the the back wall like that.
Yeah, that was something I ran into, like on the ceilings. I didn't want them, banging against the new cabinets and scratching them up and stuff,
Yeah.
and kind of wanted them a little more central
Hmm.
to working around the car. So it's not a big deal, but we just mounted them to the ceiling and moved them out a little bit. Yeah, the last thing we talked about a little bit, but was the supply chain challenges.
Hmm.
So, things are coming in really staggered, which is especially for the cabinets. I think that was the biggest piece that
Yeah.
had
Yeah, for
multiple
sure.
deliveries. And they're such big, awkward pieces, like it's hard to, put a nail in the project and be done with it
Yeah, I know.
when there's different pieces coming in. And depending what's out of stock, that could really drive your whole garage.
Yep.
But thankfully for me, the whole centerpiece of the cabinet array was in stock. I had a wood top that I don't know if you guys sent it out or Sonic did. While that was on back order, they let me use
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah. I think Sonic did that. Yeah.
the wood top, which was really cool. And so I was able to get most of the upper cabinets in. I think two of the 720s were a little bit delayed.
Hmm.
So it worked out okay, but depending on what pieces are missing, that could really be challenging for some people. You might have a
Yeah.
bunch of cabinet arrays in the corner until
Right.
a
And then
couple key pieces come.
we deal with that a lot, the cabinets being so slow, and then you're waiting on like the middle piece or something like that, and then you can't put anything together until you get that one piece. So that's something that a lot of people deal with. Fortunately for you, like you said, you had the kind of the marquee part of it was available, but um yeah, it's tough with the ETAs on a lot of this stuff, and we're still dealing with it, even now, and sometimes even worse. But yeah, Sonic is got a high ETAs. Saber has high ETAs. We're going to be offering Lista here soon, and they're built to order, but they're still 20 weeks. So 3, 4 months, 5 months, for most things. So
And
um,
that's especially complicating for someone like me. Like I'm not necessarily doing all the work myself.
yeah.
And so you're trying to coordinate contractors with their availability, and you don't really want to take your nice cabinets out and then have them paint the ceilings, or the
Hmm.
walls, and so it's just that extra challenge of coordinating between the contractor and all those big pieces that are coming in.
Yeah, 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 and obviously, um, we don't kind of help people find contractors or anything like that. But hopefully, when people do have issues, or whether it's an install issue or something like that, we try and interface with the contractors when needed and stuff. I spend a lot of time. I don't remember if we ever had to with any of the guys you were working with, but that does happen a lot where we'll get calls or questions, for people that need help, doing the install and stuff, and their contractor will get in touch with us to ask, clarification questions or whatever about certain things. So, stuff that we're happy to do to be able to make the process, as smooth as we can. There's always going to be challenges though, for sure. Um, what did you have to do did you have to make any changes to the design or layout or anything like that based on, what we had originally wanted to do? Obviously, the reels you ended up putting on the ceiling. I think
Mhm.
at some point, I don't know if it was during the design process or after you had ordered everything, you ended up putting the pressure washer on a different wall, I believe. Well, no, you did
Yeah.
put it. Which side of the garage is the pressure washer on? Are you flipped right now, or is that the inside left?
Um, Let me see here. So the, this is the interior door, and there's the pressure washer. I
Got it. Okay.
think I flipped. We initially talked about the right hand side,
Yeah.
if I remember, and this is the left,
Hmm.
for the pressure washer setup. But the reason I did this was because the pressure washer only sticks out about, I don't know if it's a foot, 13
Yeah, I
inches,
think
something
it's
like
pretty
that.
it's pretty small. So.
And so my wife's bringing her van in this stall and parking at an angle.
Hmm.
I just figured like with it being that tight against the wall, that would be a better use of space. Plus, I already had this toes bib
Mm-hmm.
out here for plumbing, so all they had to do was just go through this one internal wall to get me the bucket filler and the pressure washer feed lines.
Yeah.
Um, so that's a lot cleaner than whereas on the other side here, that's an exterior facing wall,
Right.
and there's
It's not as
stone
much space too.
on the outside, and I didn't want like just plumbing lines run inside. So I think this is where we were going to have it. But with the way it's set up now, I'm able to have this like it's a cheaper shelf, but this deeper shelf here. Because this side of the garage has a little more depth than the other. So I thought it would be a better use of the space. So there's kind of small trades that take place when the contractors start quoting you dollar figures and telling you what's possible based on your house layout and stuff. That
Mm-hmm.
changes things a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think it worked out well. I was looking at the preliminary screenshots that we sent you for the design, and originally we did have it on that left side,
Oh,
and then
okay.
probably at some point in the design or somewhere along, I think maybe we flipped it around or something. But yeah, I think here's a further down the line design that we did, and this one. This is where we kind of gave you dimensions for outlets and stuff like that, and talked about where to put power reels and planning for the power for the lift in the future and that sort of thing. And we had the pressure washer over on the right wall. So this was actually the last design, I believe, that we completed for you, that we had sent over, and then you had taken that and then purchased all the main parts that you needed to. I think during the email, maybe back and forth in email, we just talked about some things without actually including it in a new design, screenshots or anything like that. Like
Right.
we didn't do this 650 millimeter right door locker. We moved the Krensla over to the other side. You added in an upper cabinet here and didn't do the little spot for the computer. We had, a few emails back and forth where I was like setting up my computer like at the cabinets and taking a photo to kind of show you like, hey, it's kind of weird. It doesn't really work the way that you're thinking it's going to if you have an upper cabinet and that sort of thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, so that's kind of all part of the process. And then here's where we were kind of going back and forth on some of the Swiss Tracks designs, making it wider. So this was probably, I think, the one that we ended on, doing
Yep. That was it.
a little bit larger border. I think you did pearl silver, right?
Yeah, pearl silver and black.
Yeah, the jet black. So,
My garage now, when people walk into it, they're just like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing."
cool.
And truly, what's happened is it's kind of expanded from just being a garage, like a place to store tools and store your cars.
Mm-hmm.
It's become more of an interior space for me.
Cool.
So I hang out here a lot, wash
Yeah.
the cars, work on them. And it's a lot more enjoyable for the whole family.
Yeah.
We just use it more. So
That's
that's
awesome.
something you don't really think about, but having all this nice space to work
Mm-hmm.
is just really cool. Like it's a place you want to be.
Yeah, it's just an extension of your house that you can actually be in and enjoy without it being like, oh, that's just, that's the garage. This is where all the stuff is. This is where the car is, whatever. So that's cool. I'm glad to hear that, how it's working out for you. That's pretty cool. Any other thoughts on the design process or kind of where your garage ended up before we maybe do like a little walkthrough or anything?
No, just a couple things. I have an engineering background, so I think of things in terms of what's most important, kind of like the most important requirements. And you guys did an awesome job with just taking those things that were important to me
Mm-hmm.
and making sure they were incorporated in the design. And then there were some things that might be important to Matt or another OG customer that aren't important to me.
Yeah.
And you're able to kind of adjust the package to that. That's the
Mm-hmm.
beauty of the design process. And so I think, more than the other things we mentioned, that's really what set this process apart for me.
Cool.
Like I
Cool.
needed a spot to be able to store all those, all the gardening stuff and things. Having 4 kids, like we just have a lot of junk.
Yeah.
And so we were able to work together and make that happen.
Yeah.
I think that's what the design process is all about. It's unique to you. It's what's important to how you use the garage and
Mm-hmm.
what you want to do with it. And that's different from person to person.
Yeah.
But that was the best part of the design process.
Yeah, it's interesting that like a lot of the garages that we design, they all have a very similar aesthetic, but when you really get into it, there are specific things that we're choosing, or the way that we're laying something out, or certain requests that are made that we take into account, and every single one is different in its own right, to be specific for your circumstances or your goals, or what you're wanting to do. That's really cool. Can you give us a little walk around the garage? Maybe start over by
Yeah.
you kind of showed us the pressure washer a little bit already, but maybe just start over there and maybe just walk around and show us, kind of how things have worked out. Maybe just like one nice slow walkthrough.
Yeah, for sure. So this is the kind of the wall facing with the interior door here. And this is the wall that has most of the kids stuff, most of the ladders and the other gardening type of stuff. It also has the pressure washer. And this is the stall that, my wife pulls in, and there's plenty of room for her to get out, the kids to get out and stuff. So this is just like a Rubbermaid fast track
Yeah.
system, but I tried to keep it as clean as I could.
Mm-hmm.
And then as we pivot over here to the main wall, this is something I said in the kind of the design requirements, is like I really wanted the cabinets to be up front and kind of be the highlight of the garage.
Yeah.
And so we moved it from the corner, over in the corner by that window, to kind of being in the central spot of the garage, with the reels coming down.
Yeah. Exactly.
And you can see the garage heater over there.
Mm-hmm.
So this area was another requirement we had, just to keep the trash cans and recycling bins inside and just have some storage for the kids stuff. And then we get into the main array, which, I kind of have it set up for like the microfiber towels.
Yeah.
Put them in bins just for easy access, some chemicals. And then you've got the overhead storage and the drawers and stuff. And this is by far my favorite drawer. Just like with I think I have the 1/4 inch and 3/8 set up in here, and just
Yeah, that's perfect.
even some miscellaneous storage left over. So it's just such a nice place to keep those things that you use a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the other side of the garage. So a couple tire racks with winter tires for both vehicles. Got the pressure washer, snowblower in the corner, and then let's pivot to this wall over here. So with this, like, just have a little bike rack that keeps the bike out of the way. What's nice is you can see this wall's indented a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
so that buys a little bit of room and keeps those bikes from visually being too annoying.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I've got some cheaper shelving here, and
that's a part of the fast track system too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just a couple shelves that I was going to take them down, but they've served to be pretty useful. And I like the speakers being facing this way because, when I turn the music up, it's more going towards the house than out towards the street.
Got it.
So I don't feel like I'm bothering everybody as much, and the sound is really clean. Got the other Viper chair, and then I have this one roll away cabinet that I just kind of move around. I can put um, in there, but I mainly leave it over here.
Yeah.
And then just I left this other storage area and really kind of kept things as clean as I could.
Hmm.
And then some race ramps will do until I figure out what I'm going to do with the lift
Yeah, yeah. And then you did
situation. I have
jack shaft
back.
openers for all the doors, high
Yeah,
lift doors. And
yeah. So
did
we
you have that already ready to go or installed by the time you started the process with us? I can't remember if you had done that during the
no, that was
renovation.
actually one of the last things I did, and
Oh,
it
okay.
was one of the best things I've
Yeah.
done to really open up that space
Hmm.
and allow the lights to just like the ceiling to have a much cleaner view is was incredible. So I would say like three things in my mind going into this project. I thought that the highlight was the cabinets.
Yep.
Um, and it is a really nice luxury to have. But what ended up kind of being the case of what I enjoyed the most or what had the biggest impact was the lights and the flooring.
Yeah.
Those were probably the two biggest things that you don't really think about. They're
Right.
just kind of a overhead tax that you pay, but they have a huge benefit to actually using the space for
Hmm.
how people like us use it.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
and then the garage door opener really cleaned the aesthetic as well. So that was something that surprised me too.
Yeah, yeah, because it's difficult to even put those lights in that specific spot. With the center garage door openers, being in the way and stuff like that. So it really makes it a lot easier. So the way it turned out is so cool. Looks so good, especially with the RS6 in there. Just everything just goes together so well. And Gad, thank you for getting on with me and kind of walking through this. Um, it's cool to see where it's come to and where it started. We kind of went through some of the pictures of how it started, which wasn't bad to begin with, but now it's like the transformation is just like a whole other level. So can't
Yeah,
wait to.
whenever I see the pictures of before now, it's like, oh my gosh, how did I live like that?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't do that.
It's like you have a pretty good garage to start with, and then it just takes this whole other level to where it can get to. So it's pretty cool and cool to see it kind of transform over time and get there. So awesome. Well, thank you, Amgad. We'll be in touch, I'm sure, and maybe tackle your next garage or your next project when the time comes. So thanks a lot for getting
Awesome.
on with me.